Hi, it's Marie-Helene with Marie-Helene and Effective Placement. Today I want to focus on not-for-profit organizations or community-based organizations. Many of these organizations operate with a board of directors and an executive director. There is often a bit of overlap or a significant amount of overlap depending on the organization, its level of maturity, and the board dynamics. So, boards are in place to ensure that good governance is there for the organization, and the executive directors, or business managers, as they're sometimes known, are there to ensure that the day to day operations of the organization or agency runs smoothly. What I've found from my own experience, having been an executive director and having served on several not for profit organizations in terms of being a board member, is that there's an overlap that isn't necessarily necessary, and that there is some clarity required in relation to making sure that the executive director is empowered to operate the organization on a day to day basis, and the board of directors also has clarity in relation to their roles and responsibilities from a governance perspective. So it's really important to have that distinction and have those clarity conversations, to have that process be separated and well managed. An executive director is there, for example, to ensure that the funds are in place to manage the day to day operations. They have a ceiling of their spending that they can, decisions that they can make without board approval. The board is there to ensure that, in terms of the overall fiscal responsibility, is there, and that the board has assets to cover its upcoming expenses and has assets in relation to being able to operate in terms of some form of contingency for the next several years or a year or two in any event. And because not for profit organizations and community based organizations often rely on external sources of funding, ensuring that there is a contingency fund in place for operations is essential for the long term viability. What happens though is people become members of a board and they're well intentioned. They want to do the best that they can, and they're there to just to help, really feel like they want to help the organization grow. Over time, though, they may discover that they're not really sure what they're doing or why they're there. So the governance process does really need to be identified and clarified. So, for example, boards may often, they talk about having good strategies for financial accountability, but they'll spend more time talking about, whether they should buy this coffee machine or that coffee machine, as opposed to looking at what they can do to generate funds for the longer term viability of the organization. So they might want to spend some more time looking at who to contact in relation to sponsorship. And the executive director can then be in charge of looking at what organizations provide funding, and then putting those grants together for the funding process. So those are just small examples of ensuring that good board governance is aligned with good executive director management for the organization. Please do contact me for further information in relation to board dynamics, particularly at the not-for-profit or community-based organizational level. The contact details are in the description box below. And if you think it would be helpful, please pass along this video. So do subscribe and like, and have other people that you know that are working in either at a board level or an executive director or business manager level. They can contact us as well. So again, please like or subscribe and pass this along to people that may need the expertise that we can help you with. Thanks very much for your time. Have a great day.